Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight we're doing my 86th Chill and Chat live on a Sunday evening. We're talking home arcade, but also we're going to spend quite a bit of time talking VR tonight. As you guys know, I've been playing VR now for about a month and a half. Really loved it. Really got into the MetaQuest when I bought it for the first month, and then just had to get more and got the PSVR2. And for the last 2 or 3 weeks now, I've been playing that nonstop. So really just a lot of my time's going to VR as far as gaming goes. So I wanted to discuss it. Feel like I have a lot of things to talk about tonight. And I know we're a home arcade community, but I also enjoy VR and I want to discuss it. So hopefully you guys are ready to listen about some VR tonight. Let's say hi to everyone who's made it into the chat so far. It looks like we've got Pixelated Travelers here saying, oh yeah, good to see you, Pixelated Traveler. First one in the chat today. Mickey Yoon came in second. He's saying, let's do this, Biggie. Good to see you, Mickey Yoon. Papa Brad's Gaming saying, let's go. Let's go is welcome here on Biggie D's Arcade. You can say it as much as you want. I'm not going to ask the moderators to delete your chats or say you're spamming. If you guys want to say, let's go, you want to say, get hyped. You want to talk about how many people are in the building. You want to talk about super chats? You know, let's do it, guys. Let's talk about it on this channel. And let's say those words, because lately it seems like people are getting a little upset with that word, and they do not like let's go, and they do not like get hyped. So we're going to say it here. Papa Brad's Gaming is saying, hello, Mikey. Good to see you. Carlo is saying, hi, Biggie D. I've been spending a lot of time on Days Gone. Love that game. Hope everyone is well tonight. So I haven't played Days Gone. I do love the PlayStation exclusive games. You know, their first party games are excellent. All the ones that I've played have been incredible. I have a backlog of games. Haven't gotten to Days Gone. I noticed you can get it for like $10 right now. So eventually I'm going to end up playing that one. Right around on a motorcycle. You're out in the wilderness. That's about all I know about it. MSU Rich says, evening everyone. Good to see you. Brooklyn Menace says, we are the VR home arcade community. Definitely. No bigger channel, I think, for VR in this home arcade community than Brooklyn Menace. He's always streaming it. Always a ton of fun, you know, to get in on these VR games with and play like mini golf and, you know, community games like that with him. Calvin Wong says, is this a VR channel now? It may become, you know, half and half. It may be half home arcade, you know, arcades, pinball, and then the other half may be VR talk, just because that's what I'm spending most of my time doing. So I figure we should keep it, you know, true and stuff that I'm actually passionate about, rather than just talking about stuff, you know, that I'm not doing or I'm not interested in. Tim York is here saying, evening people, good to see you. Papa Brad says, please keep me, please. Please keep me, please. Brooklyn Menace says he knows he's hyped. Papa Brad talking about the Elvis Walkabout course. Yes, got a chance to play that on the day it dropped. I haven't gotten a chance to play it again since. Would love to get in on a mini golf game. So you guys let me know either through the Meta app or let me know on Facebook or through Discord that I'm on now, because I want to be a part of those games. The Elvis course is a ton of fun. We played it once this week, and incredible course. Played it with 7-8 other people. We had a really good time. Carlos saying it's super addicting. And then I'm glad Calvin brought up this. There was the news on the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm not going to discuss much about the Nintendo Switch 2. Maybe I will in the upcoming weeks, because it is something that I am interested in. I do enjoy my Switch and my Switch Lite quite a bit. Now, I'm just not really hyped or really excited, I think, about the Switch 2. It kind of seems like a Wii to Wii U situation where they're just doing slight upgrades. It's not like an entirely new system. They're not offering anything really big or different with this Switch 2 that we've heard yet. Of course, there's still a lot of information, unknowns, things that we don't know about Switch 2, so maybe that'll change. But just based on their first teaser, there's not really a lot for me to be excited about. Looks like it's just slight upgrades, bigger screen, bigger controllers. It does look like the Joy-Cons can be used as a mouse, so I think that's pretty cool. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with that. But I'm under the belief, and I've been saying this during our VR mini golf games and telling everyone in the VR community about this, but I really feel like Nintendo, for them to be successful and to really make that next leap forward, they really need to get into VR. I think that's something that they're going to have to do if they're going to be competitive in like overall. You know, of course, they're always going to have their niche. They're always going to have their market because they are Nintendo, and they will never go out of business. They'll always sell tons of games, tons of consoles. But if they really want to take it to that next level and compete with like PlayStation and PC and all these other high-end systems and computers, they're going to really need to get into VR because that's where everything is heading right now for gaming. And if they want to compete with that, they're going to have to do some type of VR setup for the Switch 2 or a new console that can handle VR at some point in the future. I know the Wii U was a huge leap as far as like graphically and power wise for the Wii U. They were trying to get into that competition with Xbox and PlayStation, and it didn't seem to work out. And then they just kind of went the handheld route, less power, not really trying to compete with those. I'd like to see them get back into that business model of trying to make an extremely powerful, system that can compete with the best of the best. And then also, I think VR is very important for them. Papa Brad's Gaming says, VR mini golf is unreal how fun it is. Absolutely it is. New Mario Kart on the Switch 2. Yes, I did see that. New Mario Kart game coming, which is way overdue. The first Mario Kart game came out on the Wii U. The new Mario Kart that was for the Switch is essentially just a port of that Wii U game with some additional extras. So it's definitely time to get a new Mario Kart game. I think they've run its course with that one and done about all they can with the last Mario Kart. So let's get into the talk tonight, guys. I want to start, and we're going to do the first part of the show, all home arcade talk, and then we'll get into the VR in the second half. But I wanted to start with the iconic arcade because I think that's leading news. That's the leading excitement in the community, and home arcade enthusiast is, what's going on with this new Street Fighter XXL iconic arcade that John D's doing, and John D joints are what they're calling these. And there's a lot going to be known tomorrow. We saw all the stuff at CES in Las Vegas in the hotel room with, B Kong and 19K Fox and console kits. And I know James Hates Everything was there. And we saw a lot of content during CES. But some of the things we didn't get to see were like the games playing. We didn't get to see the menu system or the UI. We didn't get to see the online, how that's going to work. So there were still a lot of unknowns, a lot of things we haven't yet seen or gotten questions answered on. So really looking forward to tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is kind of a follow-up to CES, and that's going to be the iconic arcade interview, which it looks like John D, which John D told me personally that he didn't think that he was going to be coming on these live streams and being like a public face of the company. He really wants David McIntosh, Bobby Vu to be those people within the company that can kind of be a face and do these interviews and be online, do live streams, things like that. So I didn't think that John D would be on Michael B's stream tomorrow, but evidently based on the thumbnail, it looks like he will be. But just kind of setting everything up for you guys. He told me he doesn't want to do this stuff. He wants to leave it up to like David McIntosh. So if you guys watch the stream tomorrow and you only see D-Mac, you don't see John D, that's why. But Michael B has a lot of pull. He's the biggest in the community. He has the largest support. He has the most people that watch him. He's also a very good live streamer. I mean, he's an incredible interviewer. So I think John D would be comfortable going on Mike B's stream, if anybody. So it may happen. But this is the thumbnail for his stream that's coming up tomorrow night. Definitely check this out. This is going to be kind of like a follow-up to CES. They're going to answer a ton of questions. I know Mike B will be hitting them question after question on a lot of the things we don't know about. So maybe they'll even have some video they can show us, things that, they can give us as far as, possible changes that could be upcoming. What possible future cabinets could be coming, because I know that's very important to everybody, is knowing if these are successful, what's going to be your next up. And I know John D likes to lead that speculation and feed it. So I'm sure he'll be giving us some hints and things to, make content videos on for future cabinets that could be coming as well. Also kind of gauging too on the community, what are they going to want to see? Like I know Robotron won the Arcade 1-Up poll for what did we want to see next? What's going to be Iconic Arcade's next cabinet? And are they going to go with the one that's the most popular, the ones we all want to see? Now, there are some that are going to be off limits that we already know about, and that's going to be your midway cabinets. So like Mortal Kombat will be off limits. He's already said it will be. So definitely keep that in mind. No midway, but some ones that I think could be real possibilities, high possibilities, are going to be like Konami cabinets, of course Capcom, also Namco. Namco's looking like he has some type of agreement with them possibly. So that opens up their whole library of arcade games as well. But let's take a look at the current offering, the one that's currently up for pre-order right now, and kind of get an idea of what you're getting as far as your games, your features, and what's the size of the cabinet. So we all have seen this since CES, the overall games list of 14 games included. I think the highlights of these games are going to be your Street Fighter 2, Hyper Street Fighter 2, the Anniversary Collection. I think that's really important because that's one of the later Street Fighter games that came way after, I think it was early 2000s, around PS2 is when that game came out. So that's like an ultimate version of Street Fighter 2 with a little more modernized graphics and features. So that's important that they got that one in there. We hadn't seen that yet. Also, the Street Fighter Alpha series 1, 2, and 3, that was great to see because we haven't had Street Fighter Alpha outside of the Evercade, and it would be good to see those licensed games on there. Especially Street Fighter Alpha 3, that's going to be very competitive online. Also, too, maybe there'll be a renaissance in that game. A lot of people will be playing Street Fighter Alpha 2 because it's going to be the artwork on a lot of people's cabinets. And then I think the biggest game on this list, and I think the biggest success or thing that came out of this games list is going to be the Third Strike. Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, huge that they got that on there. Would have liked to have seen Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter 3 Second Impact, and then Third Strike, but we did get the final one, the Third Strike, we did get on there, so that's great to see. And that's going to, I think, be the most played online. If you're going to have like a lobby system, people spectating tournaments, I predict, Third Strike's probably going to be the most popular on that games list of the fighting games. Gigawing 2 is cool because we hadn't seen that one. And then be able to play these beat 'em ups, Final Fight, Knights of the Round online, getting some shmups in there as well with 1944 and Pro Gear. And then also getting another 15th game thrown in, Captain Commando, and that beat 'em up game is really great news. Just another beat 'em up we can play online. I know PD7 loves to play those online with the community, so that could be, any one of those three could be big beat 'em up games for online play, where people at any given time would be in the lobby ready to go, which we've not seen really. So now, other features that they're advertising with this cabinet is going to be the online multiplayer. I think that's critical. Very important that they get that set up and functioning right before the release of the cabinet so we don't have another Marvel versus Capcom 2 type situation. 19-inch BOE monitor. So, of course, we're always looking for the BOE. And this is 19 inches. So this is going to be a lot like the KI Pro and how it looks with the screen size of it. And we've got a lit coin door without the ability to push the button, so no ability to start the game with the coin door, but at least it's lit. HDMI out for streaming. I think this is very important for the fighting game community, as well as any content creators, people that may be wanting to get into YouTube and wanting to stream their games. This is just going to make it super easy to plug it in and capture that gameplay. And then powered by the Raspberry Pi 5, 2 gigabyte, with the ability for us to swap out any Raspberry Pi board we want, and essentially just, throw in their SD card with their licensed games and their platform and play it on any Raspberry Pi kind of opens it up for us to do a lot with. So I like this. You know, everything looks just, you know, on paper looks excellent, right? But we still have a lot to see. We still have a lot for them to prove to us, I think. You know, there's a lot of people like me that have not pre-ordered yet. I would love to pre-order, but I still haven't been fully sold. And I'm not much of a pre-order person to begin with, guys. You know that. I never hardly, if any, ever pre-order anything. So it would really take a lot of convincing for me to put the $350 down, which is half down. But you never know. After an interview like tomorrow, maybe I would, or maybe there's new information that comes around later on that convinces me. But also, I don't think this will be something you have to pre-order unless you just want to have it first. If you're one of those that, you know, you just absolutely got to get it first, then yeah, I could see you doing that route. But otherwise, I think these will be readily available. I don't think you're going to have a problem finding them. Also, they did mention that there's retailers already on board that are going to be selling them as well. So maybe you'll even have them locally in store where you, like at Best Buy, where you can walk up to it and get a chance to play it before you buy it. So really good start, I would say. A lot of good things going for this starting out. Now let's get into the dimensions. I think dimensions are very important on this one because they call this the XXL, which is they're supposed to be bigger than the Arcade 1-Up XL. It's different, very similar in name, but they're trying to differentiate the name by calling it the XXL, making it bigger. So it's a 67 inches tall, very tall cabinet, very deep cabinet at 28 inches, and then 23 inches in width. I know a lot of people are hoping that they make it a little bit wider, you know, just a couple of inches more width to give you more room on the game deck for when you're playing two-player. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I think that would take them right back to the drawing board. They really have to kind of start over to try and do that at this point. I don't think we're going to get a wider cabinet. I think this is the dimensions of what we're going to get, at least on this first version. Now, John D. did mention that there will be a version 2 of this cabinet later on. So maybe with that one, that would be a possibility, or future cabinets that they make, ones that could be coming in the future. Other games, maybe they could make them wider, especially if they do like a Robotron. I think the wider you can make it, the better with that one being a dual stick shooter. So let's take a look at controls. Controls are also going to be very important. That's also, I think, going to be something that they discuss a lot on Mike B's stream, and something he'll be asking about is, you know, what are the controls in the cabinet? You know, from what we can see, they're not the concave, they're the convex buttons, which I like. I put these in my cabinet as soon as I get them. I do like the feel of these style of buttons, but I don't think they're much better quality outside of that. Now, the joysticks they are saying are more of a HAP style joystick. A lot of when you spring to it, so when you hit it or you just kind of flip it, it's going to bounce back, and it's going to be one of those higher quality, heavier spring joysticks is what we're hearing. So that's nice. Hopefully there's no lag in the game. You know, hopefully the response times are good, and these playing on a Pi, and with the development of, you know, Capcom on board and trying to help them make this cabinet, hopefully they make it right, and these can be played competitively online. And the online fighting community actually, you know, takes a liking to this cabinet, and they end up making this like their primary source of, you know, fighting games rather than using a console or using a fight stick. It'd be really nice to see the fighting game community get into the arcade cabinet style with the online platform and the online tournaments using these cabinets. And that's what I think John D. would like to see also. Now, talking about future cabinets, John did release this photo on his Media 1-Up Facebook page this week. We've also seen him hint about Namco recently, about a month ago, where he was at the headquarters standing in front of their large Pac-Man Christmas tree type thing that they had, talking about, you know, it's Tekken's birthday, and, you know, hinting towards maybe a possible Tekken cabinet, or, you know, if he's got the Namco license, obviously he's going to do a Pac-Man cabinet. Well, he had took this picture. This is one of their very first Gen 1 Pac-Man cabinets. I'm sure he was heavily involved in making this, and saw it at one of the restaurants he was at and wanted to snap a picture of it to share with everyone. And maybe that's another hint that Namco's next, and maybe we're getting Pac-Man as their next release, which, even though we're not going to be super excited about, we're not going to be running out to buy another Pac-Man. There are a lot of people out there that will, and I mean, that's a safe bet. It's a safe business decision to use that license, to use that game for your next cabinet, because you just know that it's going to sell, and it's going to continue to sell. And it's also the one that the retailers are most likely to pick up to carry in store. We've seen that as well. And like Jason's saying, Pac-Man pays the bills. Y'all, you know it's coming. And that's probably going to be the next one, just based on the hints and things that he's dropping. But that's going to be all right. Whatever feeds their business and makes them the most amount of money, I want them to do, because then that opens them up to more riskier type business decisions, making cabinets that we want to see, but may not be more popular to the mass audience of buyers that they try to appeal to. You know, that's how that ends up happening, is to sell a lot of these kind of cabinets that we don't want, but others will buy. So the Iconic Arcade, let's take a look at their website here. And I'm going to bring up Iconic Arcade's website. We did take a look at this last week, but I just wanted to take another look at it, a little bit closer look, because the pre-orders are going on right now. So this is the pre-order right here, $6.99. Now you can do a partial payment, so you can do only $350 down, which is nice. And I think that's a good, you know, entry point. Half down gives them some money to continue to develop the cabinet, make it a little bit better before release. Also, you know, the UI, the menu system, the online, all that can kind of get worked out and with that funding prior to its release. Now it's got a ship date of June 6th, so they still got quite a bit of time here. What is that? 5 months till this thing releases. And this is the pre-order website, VMI Innovations. And that's it, guys. That's about all we know at this point on this cabinet. We're going to hear much more tomorrow night. We'll definitely follow up on that discussion next week on what John has to say, or what David McIntosh has to say, what they're able to share with us during that stream. We'll be covering it. But to this point, this is about what we know. All right, guys. So let's bring up some comments here on the Iconic Arcade. Let's see what some of the viewers are having to say about this cabinet. Papa Brad says, 28 people in the building. Get hyped. Streaming live 100%. How many times can I say 100% in a live stream? All right, Carlo. I think the cabs look great. I'm not a fan of the Raspberry Pis, though Rock Chip is much better stable SBC single board chipset or single board computer. Every Pi I own died or never worked. All 12 of my Rock Chips work. Yeah, that is one worry of mine, Carlo, is the Raspberry Pi. I would have liked to have seen them go with the Rock Chip. I just know the Pi is more moddable. There's a larger community that backs the Raspberry Pi, so that works in its favor. But, you know, I just don't know how reliable they are. Good thing is they're easy to replace, and they're not that expensive. Papa Brad's Gaming says, Carlo, so many games play well on the AtGames 4K Pinball now with the control panel. It is incredible. That's going to be our next subject. So save that, Papa Brad, in your comments for this next topic we got coming up. We'll be on AtGames. John Phillips is here. He's saying, checking in. Salute. Good to see you, sir. Brooklyn Menace says, this is a very stacked games list compared to the arcade one up. I agree. Rexer Show is here. I know he's coming up with a stream here in about a half hour. I'll try to go as quick as I can tonight, kind of wrap it up, because I'd like to catch some of the Rexer Show tonight myself. He's saying, are they going to replay an interview from 4 years ago? I feel like this is deja vu, Back to the Future 2020. More like Groundhog Day, Papa Brad says. And Kevin Wong says that's what she said, a couple more inches. And Steps Gaming is here. Good to see Steps, one of our moderators. She says, I don't care if they make the cabinet wider. Who cares? I care about the online gameplay and emulation. Absolutely. That's, I think, critical. That is the most important part, I think, of this cabinet outside of, you know, what we already know is what is the online going to look like? How is it going to play? Is it going to be reliable? Is it going to work right? You know, all those things, I think, all comes down to the online. Marine 50 saying, good evening programs. Good to see Marine 50. B Kirby, the Chicago arcade guys here, new member. He's saying, I've had a Raspberry Pi 4 in my multicade for 2 years. No problems. So I've got a Raspberry Pi in my Marvel Superheroes. You'll see it's playing Alien versus Predator right now. That's a Pi 4, and it still works great. I have had some issues with some of the games that used to play really well, which these are games that don't play well typically on like the Pi 3, but did play well in the Pi 4. Those games, they seem to lag a little bit. I did a stream about a month or two ago, and I tried to play a couple of the games that used to play well on the Pi. They seem to not be playing that well anymore. That, I was told, has got something to do with the save files. It builds up a ton of files and just miscellaneous, random files that need to be trashed and removed from the Pi. And I don't know if my build is set up to like delete those or to remove them, temporary files, things like that. And I think those are starting to build up and it's slowing the board down. So maybe they've got software in place that can prevent that from happening. Or, programming within the Pi that can prevent that and just automatically delete those, because I don't think mine's doing it. And then Goofyfoot says, I gave my blue away, still in box, Papa. And Goofy's also saying, I could care less about the Street Fighter, no love for it. And there's going to be a lot of people like that, but I think there's a ton of people that are huge Street Fighter fans. I don't think they went the wrong route picking Street Fighter for their first cabinet. I think that was an easy decision for John D to do that and to go with this license for his first one. Steps also says the new cab is already wider. It's 9/10 of an actual size of a real arcade cabinet. Let's actually make a cabinet good. How about that, LOL? Good point, Steps. All right, so let's get into the next subject, guys. I want to talk about AtGames, for the rest of our home arcade talk tonight. And AtGames, not a lot of news for them right now. We looked at their December calendar just a couple weeks back, and we know that there just wasn't a ton this month to be, really talking about or to spend a lot of time on, except for really the Space Shuttle Deluxe, which is coming up. We're about 11 days out, 10 days by tomorrow out from that releasing. It'd be interesting to see how that table does, how it plays. It is interesting that it's just a single pack, not, a pack with like 2 or 3 games or 4, just one Space Shuttle Deluxe that's coming out on the 30th. But we do have some AtGames news. One of them is going to be this firmware update, which came out on the 15th. And this update has been very controversial. There's been a lot of good things that I think came out of it, but a lot of things that they didn't predict or they didn't do right. I would say the positives that I've seen, a lot of this I got from Arcade Talk, Papa Brad's show on Thursday nights, as well as just others in the community, is that if you have a control panel, so you have the arcade control panel there on the AtGames 4KP, where it gives you the joystick, gives you the buttons, gives you the trackball. Up until this point, for the last year, people that had bought that accessory have been unable to play arcade games on their 4KP. They've just been playing pinball this whole time, but they've had joysticks, they've had arcade buttons, they've had trackballs, but they haven't been able to use those controls on any game whatsoever because it was like prevented by the way that AtGames set up their system. Well, this update opened that ability up for you to sideload your ROMs and your arcade ROMs onto it and play those games like we do on the AtGames Legends Ultimate, like people did on the Pinball HD. You can play your Coin Ops X, those games on the big screen, on the pinball screen, with arcade controls. So that was really cool. I think that was a huge accomplishment. Something people had really been wanting to see was that become an option and available to them, especially if they had bought the accessory, the arcade control panel accessory. Now at least they have the ability to play those arcade games. That's the good thing to take away from this update. Now, negatives, right? And we're going to get into financing next. Let's stay on the firmware here for a minute. But negatives that came out of this were going to be, and I've been reading a lot about this on the Facebook groups, especially the officially 4KP AtGames Facebook group. A lot of people can speak freely. Their comments aren't getting deleted. They're not getting, prevented from being able to say negative things on that group. So you can actually see what's going on. And evidently this firmware update broke a lot of things, especially the OTG. So if you're hooking your PC up to your 4KP pinball, you are now going to have a lot of issues playing those games through OTG now. It's like stuttering and there's lag and there's frame drops and all kinds of issues where OTG is just not running smoothly anymore after this update. Also, a lot of people having problems with the update, installing it, taking too long, getting stuck, having to restart. So a lot of negative things coming out of the update, more so than the positives were the negatives and the people that have been having issues, especially OTG. That seems to be common amongst almost everyone, is that they are having issues hooking a PC up to their AtGames Legends 4KP pinball and being able to play like Zen pinball through their PC, which is a large part of the reason that people buy these is to play those high-end graphics and PC level pinball tables on their pinball. They can't do that right now with this new update. So pretty bad to see that. GeForce guy's in the chat. He says, I think all streamers, Brad, Biggie, Fox, Rexer, Steps, all streamers should be given a review unit for GRS, Media 1UP, etc. It only seems right. Yes, absolutely. I agree with you there, GeForce guy. I think that would be great to see all the content creators get review units. But also with review units, I don't really ask for a lot of them because it takes a lot of time out of your day. It's not like they're sending you free stuff. You really have to sit down, plan out, make a review video, which takes a lot of time out of your day, a lot of time out of gaming, a lot of time with friends, family, exercise, all that stuff when you've got to make a review video. So it's not essentially a free unit that they're sending out. There's an obligation. There is something you have to do on your end, and that's create that video. And for me, I just don't want to throw videos out there just willy-nilly, just make a video and kind of half-ass it. I want it to be quality if I'm going to do a review video. So I kind of have been shying away from asking for review units recently, just because I kind of want to do the live streams on Sunday, but not much else. I just enjoy watching other people's stuff more so than making it. So every once in a while I'll do a review. I still got to do my my review for New Wave Toys. I have their Zoltar, which I still been sitting on, that I have to do. So that will be coming eventually. Just got to get it done. Calvin Wong saying Space Shuttle, that's coming. And I'd like to see, some of the people in the chat that have had the 4KP that have done the update, are you running into issues? Papa Brad's Gaming says it's a great start with the control panel update and pushing the better emulators out. Some OTG users are having problems, some are not. Okay, so from what I gathered, it looked like everybody was having issues with OTG, but I guess there's some that are not. And I wonder why some are and some aren't. What's the cause of that? Seems to be hit or miss depending on what you are running and doing. They know about it and will fix it. I'm sure they'll fix it, hopefully quickly. P-Dubs Arcade Loft, here he's in the chat. We were talking about maybe going to the arcade tonight. We're going to go to Starfighters, but I told him can't go on Sunday because they're only open from 3 to 7 on Sunday, and that would have cut right into the live stream tonight. So, and I'm going to be moving here in a couple weeks, and I'm going to take a week off for that. So I didn't want to miss tonight, but I would have loved to go to the arcade with P-Dubs. He says, if you think Glenn is going to be able to send out free $1,000 heavy as hell arcade machines, I also have a bridge I need to sell you. That is a good point. Mike Cockert says, I'd love to see Rexer Show receive an iconic arcade review unit. That would be funny. Gamer Fridge says, I'm live streaming, watching you, Biggie. Awesome. Good to see you in the chat, Gamer Fridge. And Step says, the good news is that I have a GRS, iArcade, KVM, and Viper coming. I do have something very late in the stream tonight about that as well. So let's hang on to that thought as well. P-Dub says, are you working tomorrow? Unfortunately, yes, I have to work tomorrow. No day off for me. I wish. My last job I had before this, we did get Martin Luther King Day off, but not this new company. We don't. I get very little time off at the new company, unfortunately. But I get more money. I make more money, so it's worth it. B. Kirby says, I've never had any AtGames products. Well, 4KP Pinball might not be the best one to get into right now for your first one. They're having a lot of issues with it, trying to work a lot of things out. I would start with like the AtGames Legends Ultimate HD, the one they have at Sam's. That arcade unit, I think, is pretty solid, and they've been making these for a long time. I think they've got those worked out to where I've not had hardly any issues with my Legends Ultimate arcade. But maybe wait a little bit on the pinball machine. So the next thing I wanted to get in with you guys is the affordable financing, because I told you guys last week that maybe next month I was going to be getting in to a 4K pinball finally. I was going to be getting the AtGames 4KP. But I was going to be using the affordable financing because I thought it was a good deal where I was going to have my money saved in the bank to pay it off. But I was going to use their financing just to kind of free that money up, have it available if I needed it, and then pay this off over the next year. 0% interest. It just sounded really good, right? So they've been promoting it heavily also too, guys. So we're looking at a video that they had posted on their Facebook. $62.49 a month for 12 months, $500 down at checkout, plus $100 shipping, 0% interest. Just looks really good, right? Everything on paper looks amazing. And then if I want to do the SSF kit, it'll be $104 a month over 12 months. I probably will hold off on the SSF kit. I would just feel better about paying it off and then getting the SSF kit because it's not something you have to play the games. And that was my plan. And to get the Jurassic Park was my plan too. I've been seeing some really good skins coming out for this that you can get through Buy Stuff Store, places like that, where you can put the artwork on it and it just makes it look that much better. And you keep like the part on the front, you just change out the side artwork. That's been my plan, and very much ready to do it. But I've been also with that plan, been paying more attention to what people are saying in the Facebook groups, Reddit, things like that about this financing. And this came up this week. This was yesterday. Scott Davis on the unofficial AtGames 4K group says, does anyone know how to get a hold of AtGames affordable financing? I bought this machine almost 2 months ago, and they have not taken any payments out of my credit card. I've opened 3 tickets so far asking how to pay this off, and I've had no response. What happens if they have to charge my credit card and I would have to, they got a new credit card? How would he update it? He can't get a hold of anyone. Nobody's replying to him. He can't even get them to take the money out of the card they have on file. How would he update the card? Also, if he wanted to pay it off, how would he be able to do that? These are the questions people are having, and they can't get an answer to. And he paid $500 plus $100 in shipping. And it arrived and he set it up, but he never got an email or any info on where to make payments. So he's essentially just sitting with this machine, almost maybe going a month or two past due, and he has no way of paying it, no way of contacting them. They won't respond. So, this isn't good. This, especially for a prospective buyer, someone like me that wants to use their financing, this is exactly what I was afraid of. When I told you guys, maybe wait on this affordable financing. They've never done this before. They call this the soft launch. Well, this is what you end up having to deal with. And your credit is at stake. They have the ability to shut off your machine. They have the ability to do all kinds of things from their end, but, are they holding up their end of the bargain? Are they providing you with good customer service? Are they providing you with a portal online where you can go in and update information, make payments, all that? No, you're not. So not looking good. And some of the comments, like the replies were making some pretty good points. Some were pretty funny. I brought up a few of them here. He goes, heck, if they ain't saying nothing about it, neither would I. Just saying, not your fault. Right. If they never ask for a payment, they never shut it off. Your paperwork just kind of goes missing. They never bring it back up again. Well, then you just got a $500-600 pinball machine. That would be pretty nice if that were to happen. But I think that knowing AtGames, they're going to probably be trying to shut your machine off if they're not getting their money. Paul says, I have the same issue. They've said they would invoice me a bill. Also said that payments are available on table. They are not. So they're not following up. They're not doing what they said they would do, which is invoicing. Paul also said, I did just get my invoice showing full payoff. So he wanted to just pay it off at that point. He's like, I'm done with this. Just give me my payoff amount. I want to get it done with. I don't trust them. I don't want to work with them anymore on this. And he says, but he paid it off and he got no discount for early payoff, which they're supposed to be giving you $50 off if you pay it off early. And he's saying he didn't get that discount. So these are very important things, I think, for everyone out there to know about this program before getting into it. And I would like to see a response from AtGames, clearing this stuff up. Ensuring people that this is a safe program to get into, that you're going to be taken care of, that we're going to be there for you every step of the way. Make sure you get your payments in on time. Make sure you can update your payment information, and then make it easy for you to pay it off if you want. So just not looking good so far early on for their soft launch. That's for sure. John Phillips says, still got my Mortal Kombat AtGames Sega Genesis. I remember those. Kevgret says it's not zero interest. They aren't charging you. It's free then. P-Dubs Arcade Loft says, LOL, I've seen people posting that 2 months have gone by and AtGames hasn't collected any of their AAF payments yet. Jeez, unbelievable. Brooklyn Menace says it's free. I mean, that would be great. I would love to see these people get their machines for, $500-600. If they're not going to do their job and bill them, just give it to them then. Mike Hawkert says they want you to be late on your payments, so they have to pay you more, or you have to pay them more. Yeah, and that's what I would be worried about, is if I can't make the payment, they're not taking it. They're going to then turn around and say you missed payments. They're going to raise that interest up, and then you're going to be in a world of hurt. You're going to be in a position where you have to just pay interest. Who knows when you'll pay it off? The terms aren't clearly written out. So what's the interest going to be? How much is it going to be? What are late fees going to be? None of that is clearly written out. So it's a very scary situation for the buyer, where AtGames seems to hold all the cards. Thor KC says, Biggie D, if you're using the AAF plan, might as well get a SSF pre-installed with 0%, unless you'd rather install it yourself and save $100. My thought on it, Thor, is if I'm going to go into debt on this and I'm going to pay it off over a course of a year, I'd like to get that done, like get the machine paid off and then buy the SSF rather than make my payment higher. I'd rather have a lower payment, pay it off more quickly, and then take on the extra, cost of the SSF at that point. Steps is saying, I do not support going into debt for a toy. Please listen to Dave Ramsey. I've heard Steps talk about it. I've heard Kevgret talk about it on videos. I think these are, good points that they're making. And I think that we should listen and, not just quickly go into these, financial situations where you're owing someone a lot of money for something that you don't need. Gamer Fridge says, don't see the problem. P-Dubs Arcade Loft says, watch. They tried to catch up on people and ding them for 3 or 4 months of overdue payments and cause drama for that customer who spent the money elsewhere. Then they send someone to the repo the machine. Like, could you imagine someone showing up to your door saying, hey, we're here to collect on the 4KP pinball machine that you're late on. Either you let us in to take it now, or we're going to come back with a court order to come, confiscate this. Devastator Omega says, tell then you already paid and to prove that you didn't. And Biggie D still owes me $200 from the IAF, the arcade, iArcade, affordable financing for his Retromania iArcade. That's hilarious. Yeah, I got a decent deal. I think I paid $400 for it. So it wasn't like I got an incredible price, but I did get a decent price. And I do love my iArcade. We're going to talk about it tonight, actually. GeForce Guy says, Dubs, can I borrow $1,000? I need a VR treadmill. All right, so let's talking about VR. Let's get into VR talk, because that's going to be kind of the second half of this show is VR. And I wanted to do a comparison because I now own the Meta Quest and I own the PlayStation VR2. So I wanted to do a comparison of these two tonight and kind of tell you what I like about each headset, what I don't like about each headset, what games I'm enjoying, which games I want to get, things like that. So let's start with MetaQuest. So I have the MetaQuest 3S, and this headset I got for an incredible deal on Black Friday. I ended up having an urge to get the 3. And so what I did, I was within the 30-day window. I returned the 3S and I got the 3. Well, I had the 3 for about a week or two, and I wasn't super happy with the 3. I mean, I could see what people were saying where when you put it on, you kind of it gets a little bit blurry if you don't have it exactly on your head the way you want it when you're playing the 3S. When you have the 3, which has a little bit what they call a pancake lens, a better lens, that doesn't happen. You can basically just throw it on your head and it's going to look good no matter what, basically. But something about that pancake lens, it just made it seem more flat over my eyes, and it just seemed less immersive for me. Also, there was an area on my nose where it would open up and you can kind of see around you if you look down at your nose. And it just kind of took you out of the game a little bit more for me. So I actually enjoyed the 3S more. So what I did is I took the 3 back and I got the 3S again, and I bought the PSVR2 at that same time. Just used that extra money that I got back on the 3 for the 3S, used it on the PSVR2. So I actually like the 3S better after having both and playing both. I know a lot of people are, saying the 3's better, but I think the 3S is better, in my opinion. And these are the games that I have been playing. So this is my games list to this point. Walkabout Mini Golf. Now, Walkabout Mini Golf is my number 1 for the MetaQuest. I've played it on the PSVR2, and I just don't seem to enjoy it as much. The colors aren't as vibrant. The game doesn't look as good. The sound isn't as good. Also, it's very important with this one to have the freedom of movement. Something that the MetaQuest gives you is that you don't have a cord running from your computer or your PlayStation to the headset. You've got freedom of movement because everything is going on in the headset. Everything you're seeing is being processed by the chipset that's built into the headset itself. So you can move around your room, and when you're playing sports games like mini golf, it's very important for you to have that freedom of movement, to not get wrapped up in the cord or get twisted up in the cords laying around. So I will not play Walkabout on the PSVR2. I will only play it on the MetaQuest. It looks better, it plays better, and it feels better. But this is the best game by far. I think this is the best VR game because you can have up to 8 people playing with you at any given time. It's very simple and easy to make a room. People can easily join it. They don't need a password or anything like that. They just need the name of the room. And there you go. You're off and you're playing mini golf. And you can play up to 18 holes. These courses are incredible. They look amazing. They're all very different. They're constantly updating the courses. You get new courses like every 6 weeks. The new course this week was the Elvis course. And they're calling it the Viva Las Elvis course. You're in a Vegas. You're in a casino. And everything's Elvis themed. This just dropped on the 16th, which was a few days ago. And we got to play it as a group of 8 people all at one time. And it's so much fun. Now, another thing I really like about Walkabout Mini Golf is it's kind of like a meeting, right? Like if you're on like Discord and you're meeting with people, you're chatting, and or you're on Facebook video call or whatever, you're having discussions. Same thing in Walkabout Mini Golf, except you're playing a game at the same time, and it's just very much of a community. I think the enjoyment of this game comes from the community and meeting up with your friends, meeting up with other people that enjoy this game, and just playing 18 holes together, talking about whatever, streaming it live on YouTube and other people watching and being a part of it. It's just a ton of fun. And that is my number one VR game. Now, Premium Bowling is really fun on the MetaQuest. I have not played this on PSVR2, but again, this is one where you're going to want to not have the cords. You're going to want the freedom to move around your room and not be restricted in any way. So I think Premium Bowling will be definitely a MetaQuest game for most people. And that is a really good one. I haven't got a chance to play the other one. There's another bowling game out there called like 4VR Bowling or something like that. I have not played that one, but I hear that Premium is the more realistic version of bowling, and people seem to like it a little bit more. Now, Galaxy Kart, I have not actually played this game yet. I've been playing my PSVR2 most of the time, so I haven't got a chance to play Galaxy Kart. But the reason that I have it in my library is thanks to KevGret. He had posted a deal on this game. I got it for $2 thanks to him. I think it was like $1.99. He had posted it on one of his community posts, and I saw it. And I went and bought it up real quick. But this also can be a community game. I think we can all play online. We can race each other. It's a lot like Mario Kart, where you're like shooting stuff at each other and knocking each other out of the cart and racing at the same time. So I'm looking forward to playing this one. And thanks to KevGrat for helping me get that deal. You can't beat a $2 game. And maybe KevGrat's still in the chat. I'd like to, yeah, here he is. He says, "You are welcome." I appreciate it. And Red Matter 2. Now, Red Matter 2 is a story-based game. I mean, it's an adventure game. You're traveling all over the solar system to all these planets, and you're going to like bases on moons and things like that, doing missions, doing puzzles. There's also some shooting in it where you're shooting robots and stuff that are flying around. Really great game. I'd say as far as the MetaQuest goes, it's the most visually impressive game that I've seen yet. And if it weren't for like a couple of games on PSVR2 I've played so far, I would say it's up there, even with the best of the best on the PSVR2. Now, when I bought Red Matter 2, I only had the Quest. I didn't have the PSVR2 yet. I wish if I had waited, I would have rather had Red Matter 2 on the PlayStation, because I think it would have looked even better on it. But I haven't played it on there yet, so I can't tell you for sure that it would, but I would imagine it would look and play a little bit better on the PlayStation. But incredible game on the Quest. Nothing bad I can say about it on the Quest. It's by far the one that I think out of all these games that aren't multiplayer, it's the one that I've spent the most time on so far. And I'm just itching to get back into it to finish it. I think I'm pretty far along. Now, Metro Awakening VR, this is the first like AAA game that I got pretty much right after it released. It was on sale. I got it for like $33. This is also a very incredible game. This is like a shooting game, first-person shooter game that the only negative thing I have to say about this is you're in tunnels throughout the entire game. So you can't freely roam around. It doesn't feel very open. It's kind of like you're just going forward or you're going backwards because you're in a tunnel. And that's really all you can do. So that's the only negative I have to say about it. But other than that, the shooting's incredible. The enemies are very scary. There's a lot of jump scares. The graphics are incredible, even on the Quest. Now, this is another game I think I would imagine it would look better on the PSVR 2. I probably would have bought it on that if I had owned it at the time I bought Metro Awakening, but I had only owned the Quest at that time. But I think it plays and looks incredible on the Quest, so can't say anything bad about it other than it's a tunnel. Star Wars Pinball VR, talking about this game. GeForce guy bought this game. He gifted it to me, so thank you. I can't thank you enough for gifting me the Star Wars VR. This is a ton of fun. I think you can get it for like $10 when it's on a sale. But you have 12 Star Wars pinball tables that you can play in VR, and they actually play very well. Much better than the Pinball FX2 VR. This is a huge upgrade on that. When you're standing in front of the pinball machine, it really feels like you're playing a real pinball machine. You can see everything that's going on the table. It sounds like one. It feels like one. And then you've got the characters all around you too, like you're seeing in this trailer, where the people are like right next to you. They're behind you. They're on the side of you, walking around. And you can collect. I haven't had a ton of time in Star Wars VR yet, Star Wars Pinball VR yet, to collect all the stuff. But there's like a shelf you have in your room. You can start making it the way you want, you know, buying the collectibles that you want to put on there, and just kind of create like your own customizable Star Wars room that you can walk into. Now, negatives on this, I would say, is they still have not open this up to where like you can have a friend join your room and you guys can play pinball together. I think that's what's missing with this Star Wars Pinball VR, is the ability to invite someone into the room with you, and you guys can share a pinball table together and play, you know, together against each other. Or even more better would be to invite like 6 people in or 10 people in and have a pinball tournament. I think that would be where it's really at. And that's what's going to end up happening. Is Zen is working on a new Pinball VR right now, which should be releasing hopefully this year, which is going to have that online aspect. And it's going to be like a bar setting where you're all at a bar. You can throw darts, you can hang out, and then there's a bunch of pinball tables you guys can play as a like online game. So that's coming from Zen. So just wait for that to come. Now, Batman Arkham Shadow, that is the game that comes with the MetaQuest. That is a exclusive for MetaQuest, and it is a 10 out of 10. It's an incredible Batman game, and I'm only about 10% into it, but I'm just kind of saving it. I know I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to finish it, but there's just so many other games out right now that I haven't gone back to it. But incredible game, perfect, 10 out of 10. You, and I've talked about it before on stream, you literally become Batman in this game. You're look like him. You can look at your arms. You can look at your chest. See your belt. You're like flying up on top and perched on top of stuff, just like you did in the Arkham games. And there's fighting, and it's kind of a workout with that. Ton of fun. Looks incredible. Plays incredible. Nothing bad I can say about Batman, other than it's exclusive, so you're limited to the Quest. And that would be a system seller. That would be a reason to get the Quest, would be for Batman. It's that good. Now, the Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, I wish I would have waited on this, because we're going to get into PlayStation next. And this is one I would have also liked to play it on PlayStation, because there's an enhanced version on it. But I did play it all the way through, Tales from Galaxy's Edge, Star Wars, on the MetaQuest, and had a really good time with it. Thought it was a ton of fun. Visually, it could have been a little better, but overall had a really good experience with it. I liked it so much I went and bought the DLC. So there's a DLC called Last Call, and it was like an extra $10. I went and bought that. And I haven't gotten into playing the DLC yet, but I love Star Wars, and I love this game. Apex Construct was a game that, talking about Kevgrad, he had told me about this game. I think he may have sent me a link to get it, and I only paid $1, I think, for it. It may have been $1.99, so like $2 I got it. And it's a bow and arrow game. You're shooting a bow and arrow at like robots and things like that. Really good visual game. A lot of fun to play. Gameplay's really good on it. So Apex Construct, got it for $1.99. The Seventh Guest, this was the very first VR game I bought as soon as I turned my MetaQuest on and I started playing it. Seventh Guest was the very first game I bought, and it was because Brooklyn Menace was streaming it, and I took a liking to this game when I saw him streaming it, and boy, it did not disappoint. It feels a lot like the haunted house at Disney World, and it's visually very impressive. A lot of fun. It's a puzzle game, so if you're into puzzles, trying to solve stuff, it'll keep you busy, and it'll look great. It'll play great. And again, I think this may be one that plays a little better, possibly looks a little better on the PlayStation. But again, I had only had the Quest when I'd bought that one. Venture's Gauntlet VR, another game that Kevgret had told me about. So 3 out of these games that you're seeing here were all thanks to Kevgret, and I think I only paid $1 or maybe $2 for it. So he basically 3 games: Venture's Gauntlet VR, Apex Construct, Galaxy Kart. I all got for about $6 thanks to Kevgret. And talking about what's next, what is going to be. He's saying 99 cents. Yeah, I think it was 99 cents on one of these. Might have been the Galaxy Kart. Or no, it was the Venture's Gauntlet VR. It was 99 cents. So what's next? And I was thinking about, what's the next game I'm going to get on my Meta Quest to play? And I want to get a community game, a game I can play with my friends, a sports game. And I was thinking this Golf Plus. I've been seeing a lot of people playing this over the last week, a lot of people talking about it. And I think Golf Plus will be my next purchase on the Quest. And I'd love to get into some games with people. And rather than playing mini golf, kind of take it to the next level and play real golf. Not just get your putting down, but get your swing down, get your I'm not that big into golf, so I can't tell you all the terms, but definitely playing this game, I would learn how to play golf. I've been hearing it's great. So, sand wedge, I need a sand wedge. I know that's one of them. And maybe get one of the putter attachments. You saw that in this video where I've been hearing a lot of people talk about the putter attachment for your MetaQuest. Just makes it feel more realistic. Also helps your game a little bit more, and giving you that feel of like you're holding a real club or a real putter. So maybe that's what I'm missing, is that attachment. GeForce guy, I saw your short today actually about Miracle Pool, where you basically have a pool table in your room, and it's one of those games where mixed reality, where you can actually see your living room, but then you've got the digital pinball or digital pool table in your room, and you're playing pool. And if you can bring a friend in and play together on that, I definitely want to look at getting Miracle Pool. I think you said it's $20, which I may get it at that price, or I may wait till it comes down a little bit. But it did look good. Okay, you're saying it's only $6.99 now. Okay, so I'll definitely have to look at that. If it's only $7 for Miracle pool table in your room to play in VR, then I may have to get that. Brooklyn is saying a few of us bought Miracle Pool. I have been playing it since early release. I remember you sent me the early release access to that game, and I just missed it, so I never got a chance to play it. All right, so talking about this comparison, I want to next get into the PSVR2 and what I like about the PSVR2. So I got this when I returned my Quest 3 that I had upgraded to. Wasn't very happy with it, in the difference and all that. I actually liked the 3S more, so I returned the 3 to get my 3S back, saved a little bit of money, got my money back on that. Use that towards the PSVR2. I got it for $350. I got the bundle deal with Horizon Call of the Mountain as well. So $350 with that game. Just, I couldn't pass it up. I didn't want to have 2 headsets because I knew it would take time away from the MetaQuest, and I didn't want to have to, pick and choose what I wanted to play and all that. I just wanted to keep it as one. Like when the consoles came out, right? When Xbox and PlayStation were out, I would I own the PlayStation 3. And then when the PlayStation 4 came out, I got an Xbox One, and I just had an Xbox One, never had the PS4. When the PS5 came out, I bought the PS5, but I didn't buy the Xbox Series X. And that's what I've always done. I've always just bought one of the two major systems because I don't like to take time away from the other one. Well, this I just couldn't resist. $350 for the PSVR2 with Horizon Call of the Mountain. I just had to do it. And ever since I've done it, I've only been playing the PSVR2. Now, if we get together for mini golf, or if we get together for bowling, or if we're going to play Golf Plus, or we're going to play pool table, then that would have me put my Quest back on, because I think those games, the online-based games where you're playing with your friends, or their sports games, are going to play better on the Quest. But I think for the most part, everything I've experienced on the PSVR2 outside of that is much better. So your story-based games, your deep games that are going to take a long time to beat, ones that have dialogue, ones where you're seeing cutscenes, ones where you're walking through like an open environment and you have like a world around you. The PSVR2 is going to look better. It's going to play better. Also, you don't have to worry about battery life. You can play for 8-10 hours if you want. If you wanted to play that long, you could do it without worrying about losing power, because, of course, you have the cord running to the PlayStation. And that's all happening within the PlayStation. It's like producing all the graphics, and then it's sending that signal to the headset to see what you're seeing. So everything looks and plays better. It sounds better. The controllers work even better. I didn't like the controllers at first because it has this ring around your hand. But now that I sense how much better the motion is on it, and just how it feels and how it vibrates, I like the controllers better even on the PlayStation. Also, there's a feedback in the headset itself where it shakes. So if something's going on in the game, something hits you or you bump into something, that the headset could actually shake, which really just kind of brings you into the game even more. And also makes me think I got to get the haptic vest, so I get that experience as well. So yeah, PSVR2 is the way to go for most every VR game that I've played so far. So it's going to be, unless I'm with a group of friends playing online, that's where I'm going to be, is in PlayStation doing VR there. And this is the launch title. So I remember when PSVR2 released a couple of years ago, this was the launch games that came out for it. And I thought this was I wanted to show this because I thought this was an excellent library of games to start out with. And so there was After the Fall, I heard was a really good one. This Before Your Eyes, that one we're going to talk about here in a second. I have played it. I've tried the Cities VR. It's okay. Haven't got a chance to play the Creed, the boxing, but that one looks good. The Gran Turismo 7 is I think a must buy. I'm going to eventually have to get a copy of that game so I can start racing in VR. The Horizon game, which came with the headset, is incredible, visually, a very impressive game. I haven't played a lot of it yet, but really looking forward to doing that. The Kayak VR, incredibly graphically impressive game. Just like one where you could sink tons of time into if you just want to see something really cool, because you're like in the ocean and you're like at these all these different places around the world, like kayaking in the water, and it all looks real, and the animals around you look real. And if it's dark outside and gloomy outside, you could literally be in the Caribbean or in Hawaii kayaking. And just really cool game. The Pro Era NFL, I have not gotten a chance to play, but I've been seeing a lot of people streaming that. May have to get into the NFL Pro Era. Maybe they'll do a real good sell on that with Super Bowl coming up, and I may get that one. Let's see, Pistol Whip is really good. I've gotten a chance to play it. This had Resident Evil Village as a launch game. I do own that game, so I may get into that one. But I want to beat the RE remake first, the 4 remake. Now, this had the Star Wars Enhanced Edition, which I've been playing that on the Quest as one of their launch games. Saints and Sinners Retribution, we're about to talk about that here in a second. So just a really good launch window, I thought, here for it when it came out a couple years ago. So these are the two games I've bought so far from it. I really haven't bought a lot of games yet for the PlayStation VR2, and I'm going to tell you why here in a minute. Now, Resident Evil 4 Remake, I've already owned that game. I hadn't played it yet, but I already owned it on a physical copy. So all I did is I inserted the game and I downloaded a DLC called VR Mode, and I got to play Resident Evil 4 Remake in VR for free, essentially, because I already owned the game. So that was added to my library instantly. And that, I'll tell you guys, that game scares the shit out of me. Like, I'm at the very start of the game, and I'm just like walking into this house, and I'm like opening these doors, and I know there's a zombie on the other side, and I'm just waiting for it to jump out. And the problem with this game is it looks so real. I'm like, I'm not ready for that yet, so I haven't played it. I'm trying to get used to VR a little bit more before I jump into that game, really jump into it. Horizon, can't talk about how visually impressive this game is. You're like doing a lot of climbing. You got like a bow and arrow. I've only got maybe 30 minutes into that game, but I'll tell you the first 10 minutes of Horizon is like a ride. It's like you're at Disney World and you're on a ride for the first 10 minutes of that game. And that's like a must get or a must buy. Hopefully, if you guys get the PSVR2, you get that game included for free. Now, here's where I've been spending over the last 3 weeks, because these two games I haven't really played yet. This is where I've been spending most of my time over this last 3 weeks. And I'm talking, 10 hours, 12 hours a week. And that is in the PlayStation Plus Premium library. So you can get the PlayStation Plus Premium membership, and it's going to open up a bunch of VR games for free with that membership. And this is what you're getting. You're getting Pistol Whip. You're getting Vacation Simulator, Job Simulator, Kayak VR, Saints and Sinners, The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Retribution, Walkabout Golf, Before Your Eyes, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and Synth Riders. Pistol Whip, awesome, incredible game. Job Simulator, kind of fun. Older game, VR game, but a lot of fun. Just told you about Kayak. Let's save these Saints and Sinners games to last, because that's what I'm going to spend most time talking about. Walkabout, I told you guys it's better on the Quest. That's what I feel. Brooklyn Menace is in the chat. He prefers playing Walkabout Mini Golf on the PSVR2. So I think it's up to each person and what they prefer, what they like. But I like Walkabout better. Even though I have access to it on my PlayStation through this membership, I like it better on the Quest. Before Your Eyes is a very deep, game, story-based game where it's making you think, and you were just like watching a story and stuff. Very different, artistic type game. Ghostbusters, haven't jumped into that game yet, but I've heard that it's not really meant for adults. It's kind of like a kid game, and it gets very, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. So you may get tired of it quickly. The Synth Riders is cool. This is like a workout game where you're basically listening to music and you're doing all kinds of stuff with your arms and your hands, and you're moving around the whole time, and you're actually getting in a really good workout. And I haven't played Beat Saber yet, but I hear this is very similar to Beat Saber. There is 2 games on here, and that's going to be The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners Retribution. So in the last 3 weeks, I've spent about 12 hours in The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and I can tell you officially today, I've beaten the game. I finally finished it today. I started off with this game. You're killing zombies. You're in these really dark environments. You're like, got all these jump scares. You got all these scary sounds going on. It took me a while to really get going in this game, because you're really on your toes in this. It's really got your senses going, and you're literally like fighting for your life in this game. And the graphics aren't as scary as like Resident Evil. They're a little more like toned down graphics, so you can kind of handle a little bit better because it's a little cartoony. So it was a good introduction to like zombie scare VR games for me. And this is kind of what I'm using to kind of prepare me for Resident Evil VR, is to get through this game, get used to the scares, get used to the stuff jumping out at you. Also get used to the intensity of this game so I can kind of prepare myself for Resident Evil VR. But I've officially beaten Saints and Sinners, and I'll tell you, it is like there's things that they can work on, there's things that they can improve, but I'd say it's a 9 out of 10, and I had just such a good time playing through it. And I feel like I really accomplished something by finishing the game, because it's a very intense game. I mean, it's got your nerves on, you're like on the edge of your seat through this entire game, and you're like fighting for your life. Unless you're at like your home base where the bus is and where you sleep every night, anywhere else, I mean, at any moment something can jump out at you and grab you, and you have to use your axes, your guns, your knives, whatever you can get to hold these zombies off. And you call brain them, where you're killing them in the brain. You're either stabbing them, you're shooting them in the head, or you're like beating them in the head until they die. And it's called like braining zombies. And I just jumped into Retribution this afternoon, right before the stream. I'd spent less time preparing for this stream today because I wanted to spend more time in VR. So I was able to finish Saints and Sinners this morning, and then I jumped into Retribution this afternoon, and they've taken Saints and Sinners to the next level with Retribution. It looks better. The graphics are better. Everything looks like more detailed. They've added a bunch of animations, things like that. Also, the zombies seem to act a little bit differently. They're a little smarter. They're also in areas you don't expect. Like you kind of get used to where the zombies are going to be at in the first one. And the second one, they're changing all that up. So you're pretty much starting over again. And it's like Saints and Sinners on roids, like steroids, because like they give you so many guns. Like in the first one, you're literally like having to collect, and you're having to farm stuff and collect all this various things that you find around you, and on the ground and sitting on tables and stuff to build your weapons throughout the game in the first one. And the second one, they just kind of give it all to you, and it's everywhere. And there's like you have like an armory area, and you walk into it, and you've got like hundreds of different guns. You got machine guns, you got shotguns, you got all kinds of crazy stuff that you didn't get in the first one, or you had to work really hard in the first one to create. In this one, it's not like that. They just kind of give it all to you, but they're also giving you more zombies to kill in Retribution too. So they've taken that to the next level, and you're like having to kill 3 or 4 times as many zombies as well. But really happy with the part 2 Retribution. I just think it looks better, it plays better, it's more intense, it's going to be more fun, and it's going to continue the story. I think the story is really good on Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners too. Like the dialogue and everything that's going on, it's really cool. And they also start this game off a lot like they did with Horizon, where it's like a ride. You're on like a boat ride at the beginning of the game, and it just really sets the scene for the game. But love it. We're losing Biggie. Okay, I hope that doesn't mean you're losing me on the stream. I hope you're losing me because we're talking VR. G4 guy says, damn, Biggie is a real gamer. Hell yeah, LOL. And Cuddles Arcade loves synth riders. GeForce guy says. Biggie Fries is here. He's saying Alien Rogue Incursion is a great PSVR2 game. And GeForce guy says Haptic Vest is a game changer. And Brooklyn Menace says Retribution lets you bring everything you made in Saints and Sinners. That's why you have so many weapons. So let's take a look here. This is the trailer for Saints and Sinners Retribution. This is the one that I just started this afternoon, right before the stream. Goofy confirms LOL to VR. Losing me to VR, definitely. But you guys can see, if you played the first one, and you haven't played this one, you're going to see it looks a lot better. The environments are a lot more detailed. The weapons have been taken to the next level. And You're going to have more zombies to kill. And also, I feel like the zombies are a little bit more aggressive in this one than they were in the first one. You kind of get used to how they act, where they're going to come from, where this one, it changes all that up. So you're having to learn that again. So definitely looking forward to jumping into part 2. Now, these games came out, like the first one, Saints and Sinners, came out like 4 years ago. So I'm just now playing it for the first time in the last few weeks. Retribution came out about 2 years ago, and I'm just now playing it for the very first time today. So being a new to VR, just getting these headsets, I'm playing a little bit of catch up. And what I'm doing is I'm choosing to play some of these older games that have been out for a little bit longer before I get into the newer games like Batman, like Horizon, things like that. Also, I told you guys I really want to play Resident Evil in VR. This is a little more if you guys can see the animations going on in this right now, the zombies, they're kind of cartoony, and it makes it a little more tolerable, a little more easier to get into than playing Resident Evil, because in Resident Evil they look real, and I'm just not, I don't think I'm ready for that yet, for those scares. And when you take the headset off, guys, after playing this game, like, you come back to reality, right? And you come back to a level heart rate, you know, a normal heart rate, all that. But when you're in this game, I mean, your senses are on overload, and like, you're literally feeling like you're fighting for your life, and your heart's racing, and you're looking all over the place. You're looking behind you. You're making sure people aren't walking up on you and all that. So hopefully that, guys, kind of gives you what you're experiencing, what you're feeling when you play these style of games. So that is PlayStation Premium. These games are all included in the membership, but they just added this Synapse game. This game's really cool too. I've only played probably about 30 minutes into this, but this one's visually incredible and very trippy, and there's all kinds of weird stuff going on. You're shooting guns. It's a lot like the Matrix, you know, if you can imagine like Matrix style shooting. That's how I would compare it. And they just added that game, and they're going to continue to add games to the PlayStation Premium VR library. Brooklyn Menace says, Biggie, did you ever stay too late scavenging and hordes show up? No, I never stayed after dark, because you said don't do it. So I always kept an eye on my watch, and I never stayed out after dark, because supposedly the zombies get way more intense at night. So you want to do all your stuff during the day. Brooklyn saying, I'm just playing Retribution for the first time too, and I've owned it since the day PSVR2 came out. He says he refused to even look at it until I totally beat Saints and Sinners. That's the same. I wanted to play it, and I didn't want to go to the second one, part 2, until I beat the first one. Devastator Omega says the RoboCop game in VR, that would be awesome. I'd love to see that. Step says she still doesn't have VR. She needs to get into it. She needs to get her VR headset. GeForce Guy says, Steps, do it. I'll gift you a couple of games. You'll be hooked. Yeah, and that's another thing, Steps. If you just get the VR headset, you know, it's like $299 for the 3S 128 gigabyte. Just get that. It's going to come with Batman. GeForce Guy said he'll gift you games. Shoot, I may even gift you a game to get you started. And then really all you're going to need is mini golf. If you have mini golf, you're going to get enough playtime out of that headset to make the purchase worth it just in walkabout mini golf alone. So Synapse is a must play, and he says you are in main enemy's mind the entire game. Very cool, and check it out. PlayStation Premium. Now, another game that I'm looking forward to, talking about what's going to be my next PSVR2 purchase. It's probably going to be this one, Arcanage. I've been seeing Brooklyn Menace VR on his channel, streaming this for the last couple of days. It looks a lot like a Halo-style VR game, but with a lot of other stuff going on in it. Looks really good. This will probably be my next purchase, is this new game. It just came out this week called Arcanage. I don't know much about it other than what I've seen in Brooklyn streams. But the combat looks really good. The graphics just look incredible on this one. And really bright game, vibrant game. And it just brings back memories or a lot of, Halo. Looks and feels a lot like Halo in VR to me. Except for the climbing and the weapons, things like that. So you'll have to tell us, Brooklyn, how are you enjoying Arcane Age? And should this be my next VR purchase? Should people in the audience who are interested in VR, should they get this game? Should it be their next purchase? Steps is saying, but VR doesn't get any views, LOL. I would take that back, Steps. There's a ton of big channels that are into VR, not within the home arcade community, but in the VR community. There are tons of people watching VR content. VR is way bigger community than 1UP, definitely, is what GeForce Guy says. Brooklyn says he's been waiting over a year for this to finally come out. And he says, yes, all capital letters. Go out and get it. No doubt about it. You're going to like it. Step says none of them watch videos, though, because they are in VR. That is true. Like, I've been wanting to stream VR, but I'm having so much fun playing VR. It's like I don't want to take away from the experience of playing it, and I don't want to be looking at the chat while I play. I don't want to be hearing it in my headset, people talking to me. So I haven't yet streamed it. I will eventually, but I'm just so into it right now, guys. So this is available on Steam. You can play it through your PC on your MetaQuest headset, or you can get it at the PlayStation Store, play it directly through your PlayStation. But it is not available for the MetaQuest itself. And I think the reason is because of how graphically intensive this game is. I don't think the MetaQuest headset can handle it. It's probably going to need some additional development, in order to tone down the graphics to make it playable at a good frame rate on the MetaQuest. But currently you can get it on Steam and you can get it on the PlayStation Store. And this is a lot like Alien Rogue Incursion, where it's only coming out on these platforms first, and then they're going to kind of have to tone down those graphics, port it over to the Quest so it can play on that hardware. So this will probably be my next one. It's between this or between Alien. But I'm leaning more Arcane Age just because it's more colorful, more brighter, which I like that about it. Thor KC says, at Steps Gaming, VR gets a ton of views from streamers who know how to work it. Check it out. Yeah, you got to have your camera set up right. You got to know what you're doing technically to stream VR and to have VR content, because there's a lot going on to set up a stream for it. Brooklyn saying, I love it, and the developers didn't have to patch the game after it released to make it even better. It's just perfect right at the release. Good to know. Beach Native says there's definitely a lot of VR contents. Mateo311, Steve Knows, A Wolf in VR are just some of the YouTubers I follow. They've got great content. Well, good to know, guys. I love that we're able to discuss this tonight, to discuss VR. It's something I want to start doing more often just because I have a real passion for it. I'm becoming a VR enthusiast. And if I could, say anything to the audience of people that don't own VR, I would say, a comparison between these two, I don't think you can go wrong either way. I think that, whether you get the PlayStation VR2, whether you get the MetaQuest, I think you're going to get a good product either way. There's pros and cons to each. Ideally, I would say own both. But if you had to pick one, like if I had to only pick one, even though I'm enjoying the PlayStation VR2 more, I would probably get the MetaQuest just because the versatile ability of it, not having the cords. Also, I feel like there's a larger library in the MetaQuest. Also, the community aspect of the MetaQuest, I think, is important, and it's very easy to invite people to games. The ability to chat with people, to make video calls, all that on the MetaQuest. It's also got the mixed reality where it's got color pass through. You can see your room. You can turn the game off, see your room as if you weren't wearing the headset. Also, it's just got a lot of neat things to it. So really, I can't pick one, but if I had to, I would say the Meta Quest would, if you could only own one. But what's even better is to own both. I think that's the best way to put it. And I did run a poll on this. We got 61 votes. So that's a really good look at, the viewers, the audience, and what they own or what they're interested in when it comes to VR. And I'm going to end the poll now. But with 61 votes, and I probably shouldn't have ended it until I knew what the result was, but, or I read the result, but it looked like, let's see here. Can I get that poll back up? Because I got to discuss it. I ended it and it took it off my screen. But it looked like a large chunk of the people in the chat do not own either yet. So you guys have not bought either of these headsets, and look like a very small percentage own both, which is going to be where I'm at. And then it looked like more people owned the Meta Quest, if I was right. I'm pulling it up here on my phone right now just to see. So I can tell you guys the exact numbers on that now that I've ended the poll. Okay, here. Brooklyn Menace says 39% for neither. Okay, great. You're doing it for me. Good. So 39% neither. So 40% of the audience of those 61 people that voted own neither. So they're in the market possibly, or maybe they've already decided against VR. I'll tell you, if you guys have decided against VR, give it another chance, because I was one of those that was just like against VR. I thought it would make me sick. I didn't like the idea of having something so close to my eyes. And I also like living in reality, right? I don't want to go out of reality. So I was a hard sell. I was very hard to convince to get into VR in the first place. So I definitely feel those people that feel that way. But I'll tell you, I never looked back. As soon as I got my Quest headset and I put that thing on, it's like everything changed. All the thoughts I had about VR changed instantly as soon as I put that headset on. So I think that reconsider it if you've decided against it. And if you're neither deciding which one to get first, I would say the Meta Quest first is a good way to start, and then decide whether or not you want to get the PSVR2 later. But if you like the Quest, definitely get the VR2 and be part of the 14% that are both. But if you have to pick one or the other, 36%, so a third of the audience said they have the Meta Quest. I think that was the right move of the two. Only 9% just have the PSVR. So I think that's good. 36% have Quest, 9% have PSVR2. That's how I would do it. I get the Quest first, get the PSVR2 second, hopefully own both. But a lot of people out there own neither. 40% don't own one yet. So hopefully you guys join us in the VR gaming world, because it is a ton of fun. Thor KC says, yeah, beside the cool factor on the mixed reality, it is where the new development is heading, which is why PSVR2 does not have a bright future in spite of being as awesome as it is. Yeah, there's some things holding PSVR2 back. One, it doesn't have the mixed reality aspect because it doesn't have color pass-through. So when you turn the game off, you can see your room, but it's in black and white. So they're a little behind on that. Also, it doesn't look like they're developing games as much for it. Also, it doesn't look like, and I watched Kevgret's video this week on this, doesn't look like PlayStation's fully, committed to making games for the PSVR2. So really, we don't know how much longer it's going to be around. Maybe a couple more years, but will they make another one? Maybe. We don't know that yet. So definitely Quest is the way to go. It's got, I think, more going for it in the coming years. GeForce Guy says, Biggie, sell the cabs and get a haptic vest and a VR treadmill, go all the way. So just the vest alone is like a $400 purchase. And this Marvel vs. Capcom 2 cabinet, I think I paid $350 for. So like if I just sold this cabinet, it would be enough to get me the haptic vest. Or I could just save up another $300-400 and buy it and keep my arcades. Brooklyn is saying, I will be live jumping into Shattered on Meta 3 tonight, which is a mixed reality game that turns your house into a horror-themed escape room. I'll definitely be checking that out, Brooklyn. Thanks for letting us know about it. So that's it, guys. That's it on the VR talk tonight. I'm going a little bit longer than I should have, but I had some stuff I wanted to talk about. And I know Rexer's streaming right now. I'm going to catch his stream after I get out of mine, rewatch his. I didn't want to stream over him, but it's hard for me to fit everything into 1 hour. It's like I need minimum an hour and a half. I really like 2 hours. Now, Glenn's Buildacade FU is what I wanted to talk about next. I don't have a lot to talk about with it, but I did want to bring it up because there was some news, not only with the Buildacade FU, which we talked about last week, but for Glenn, there was some news on this GRS KVM system. So this last week was your last chance to pre-order the KVM system, the switcher, which allows you to switch from the iArcade board to the Viper board. And let's read here what Glenn had to say. He goes, well, we all tried to get the second run of the GRS KVM system launched with 200 pre-orders, with some absolutely fantastic fans of the product helping us to get the word out and try to make this happen. I have to pause to really thank Sonny and others who tried so hard to get up to 200 pre-order mark. We were at 125 units. Then at the last night, the last moment, they got 49 more pre-orders, bringing it to 174. And now the pre-order is closed. And although they didn't hit the 200, they're still going to make these. And so the 174 are still going to get shipped out. But that'll essentially be the end of this KVM system and your ability to buy it. And they're closing this product out because there's only so many people out there that bought the iArcade in the first place. And then of those people, how many of them modded it? And how many of them are willing to mod it so far to buy this? So my thought on it was I passed on it. And the reason I did is I got Glenn's Ultimate Control Panel. I got the mystery encoder board attachment, which allowed me to sideload games onto my iArcade. And I just pretty much have everything I want already, right? I've got the games I want on it. I've got the control panel I want. I've got the light gun games. So my iArcade, I really feel like is already complete. And I don't really necessarily want to put a Viper board into this because I'm planning on getting Glenn's Buildacade FU full-size unit or 4U edition. And I'm going to have a Viper in there. I'm going to have the Viper Venom board, which is the better board in that. So don't really see the sense in doing all this work on my iArcade when I feel like it's complete. And I also, in addition, want to get his FU arcade, his full-size Viper, powered arcade that's coming out. We talked about last week. So I skipped on the KVM system. It just looked like a rat's nest of wires. It looked like a lot of work to try to get this thing installed. It looked like some people were even running into some issues trying to install it. So I just passed initially. And then even when the pre-orders came back up, I thought about it for a second, but then I was like, I really want to get his FU arcade. So Steps had reached out to me. He's like, hey, this is your last chance to get it. And I just passed again. I'm happy with my iArcade the way it is without this Viper switcher. And I'll be happy with the FU when I get it and have 2 arcades. So that is the Glenn news. Now, this deal had come up. I wanted to talk about this. This is the what I'd done a community post on, which is the Arcade One Up Midway XL Golden Tea Cabinet. It basically was, we covered this, when it came out. We did video content on it. P-Dubs and I went up to Costco and saw it, played it. I thought it was kind of cool, but at the price tag, I think it was $500-600, was just way too high. But at $250, if you guys know anything about my channel, about the deals, I love shopping these deals. I love picking up these arcade machines at half off or less, and now they've hit that mark. This says display unit only is $250. If I had saw this at my Costco, I'd pick it up in a heartbeat, and I would have fun with this, you know, at $250. It's also a big cabinet. It would be my first XL sized cabinet from Arcade One Up. Wish I could find one of these, but definitely check your local Costco. Show them this image. See if they'll sell you their display unit at $250. Or see if they'll sell you a brand new one in box at $250. Better yet, you know, ask them, see if they'll do that. You never know what these managers or these people, supervisors will do, especially if you pull your phone out and you show them this photo, say other Costco's are doing this. What can you do for me? They may give you a deal like that. Science Spirit says this is the display model. Yes, but even a display model, $250 I would get. If it ran and all the games played, all the controls worked on it, I would pick that up. Rinsler is, I installed it into my Dead Cells cab. Fun project, great project, great product. Rinsler, Dead Cells is going to be the gold cab that you have. I've been seeing a lot of people that have done the Ultimate Control Panel with the Viper board. Bill's Retro Show did that with his Space Invaders Gold, and I think it made a lot more sense to get the KVM switcher system with the gold, because if you guys remember when the Mystery Encoder mod came out, the gold was like you couldn't mod it at the time. So this system here and the Viper board was really kind of like looked more attractive for the gold. And if I had owned the IRK Gold, if I was lucky enough to own that cabinet, I probably would be doing the KVM system in it. Also, I would have less reason to get the FU arcade, the full-sized Build-A-Cade, because the Gold has the marquee. It has the, you know, the overhanging marquee. It's a much bigger style cabinet. Probably wouldn't even be in the market for the FU if I had your Dead Cells cabinet. So yeah, definitely sounds like you went the right route, and it was good to hear that it was a fun project. You didn't run into too many issues. You actually enjoyed, you know, putting it in and doing the modding aspect of it. And it's a great product. You're enjoying it. And that's awesome. Step says, I got it for the iArcade because I'm very happy with the iArcade and I just want the options. Made a lot of sense for me to do that versus spending $1,000 on the FU when I already had the GRS deck and the iArcade. Rinsler says, yeah, it was my primary option for my gold. I have 3 others with the MIA mod. Also a great product. I think I've seen, you may have shared some pictures on the iArcade Facebook group. You'll have to tell me if you have, because I think I may have seen some of your pictures. Someone that has, you know, 4 of the iArcades all modded next to each other. But very cool. Glad you caught this segment then on the iArcade and Glenn's Viper board and the switcher. Sounds like you got a lot of experience with it. So yeah, Arcade One Up deal, $250. Go check it out. Go to your Costco. See if you can find one of these at that price. I think it's a killer deal at $250. That's the sweet spot. $300 and less for an Arcade One Up for sure. Let's take a look at the Arcade One Up website. Let's see if they've got anything going on, because, you know, we're wrapping up the show. This used to be our main thing we talked about was Arcade One Up, but not really anymore, because what they're doing is they're just buying more cabinets that they've already produced, which right now it's the Fast and the Furious that they're pushing from 2023. They re-upped, sold a bunch more Fast and the Furiouses. What's going to be next? You know, what's going to be the next cabinet they do that with? You know, it'd probably be more Mortal Kombats. Or it'll probably be more Pac-Mans, or more NBA Jams, or more Buck Hunters. What's interesting is they still have Street Fighter on here, but Street Fighter's gone. That license is with Iconic Arcade now. Maybe more Time Crisis. Maybe they'll bring out more of these. So who knows? But definitely, Arcade One Up is not a business that produces new cabinets anymore. They are a business that just keeps producing what they've already created. So if you're looking for good deals on Arcade 1UP, I think that's a lot of fun. Or if you're looking to get like that final piece for your arcade, maybe Arcade 1UP has something that you've never got that you may want when it comes back around, like Fast and the Furious right now. Also, Mr. Encoder's got mods for the Fast and the Furious. Open it up, make it a little bit more fun to maybe purchase this cabinet. But outside of that, there's just not really a lot going for Arcade 1UP right now. It's kind of depressing right now for Arcade 1UP fans because they're just not making anything. But there's so much better stuff on the horizon that is coming that's going to make up for that, like Iconic Arcade's XXL, AtGames, their 4KP Pinball. Hopefully they got the 4KP Legends Ultimate still coming this year. And then we've got the My Arcade stuff. We've been talking about it, the smaller stuff. We'd run a poll this week. We had over 144 votes. So this is a very good gauge of the community. This is a lot of voters for my channel, I feel. 144. It's quite a bit of votes. But it said, what will be the most successful home arcade product in 2025? So for us as a community, as a home arcade community, which one are we going to feel like is most successful? Or which one from a business standpoint will be the most successful? You can kind of take this poll any way you want. A lot of comments on that, you know, like people saying My Arcade's going to be the most successful because they're going to be in stores. They're going to be sold at Five Below, you know, places like that. So they're going to make the most units sold, you know, they'll be the most successful. You can look at it that way, or you can look at it, what's going to be the most successful product in home arcade? Like, what are we going to talk about the most? What are people going to be the most excited to listen to and watch? Also, what are people going to be the most excited to play themselves in their own arcades? And it looks like the poll has spoken. Iconic Arcade XXL won with 46%. So it won by a very wide margin. A lot more people are more interested in this Iconic Arcade. And that's where I fell. I voted for Iconic Arcade at 46%. AtGames 4KP and GRS Build-A-Cade FU, a tie, 24%. And then you've got the My Arcade Namco X Capcom, which really this could be any My Arcade product, but I think that collaboration with Namco and Capcom on those little miniature countercades look very similar to the Evercade Alpha. I think that's a pretty cool product. I'm interested to see what they do with that. But My Arcade's got tons of stuff coming. They promoted like lots of new stuff that, you know, they're going to be making here over this year, hopefully early next year. What's most, I think, or what's closest, right? What's closest right now is going to be that Atari Game Station Go, which they did at CES in 2023. They showed it off there. I think that's about to release. And that My Arcade Game Station Go Atari system with the keypad, you got the joystick, or you got the thumbstick, you've got the trackball, you've got the spinner, you've got all those games on it, like 200 Atari games. I think that's like peak My Arcade right now is what they're doing with that. And then a ton of stuff coming as well that they showed off at CES. So very good poll, I thought. Got a lot out of it as far as what people are most interested in, what people think is going to be the most successful. And that's going to be Iconic Arcade XXL and what John D has brought and is going to discuss tomorrow night on Michael B's stream. So you guys, again, make sure to check out Michael B tomorrow night because he is going to be streaming with David McIntosh. Maybe John D will even make an appearance, and hopefully we'll get our questions answered. We'll finally get to hear more about this cabinet because I know people are just itching to hear, what this is going to play like, what the online platform is going to be like, how well is it going to play online, things like that. We want to see some gameplay. We want to see the menu system. So hopefully they've got some video, some stuff to show us during this Mike B live stream tomorrow night. So make sure, guys, to check that out. And I'll be watching. I'll be taking my notes. I'll have my notepad ready to go. And maybe it'll even be like old Biggie D's arcade when I was first getting into this, where I would literally go live or make a video right after John D did one of these streams. So we'll see. Maybe I will get enough information out of it to make a video or to do a follow-up live stream in response to what happens tomorrow night. So stay tuned this week, guys. We'll definitely be back next Sunday for another Chill and Chat live stream. I love doing these. I'll be here every Sunday with you guys discussing this stuff. Hope you guys have enjoyed tonight. I will be here next week, but the following weekend and the weekend after that, so it'll probably be 2 weeks in a row, I will not be able to live stream likely because I'm going to be moving. I'm moving from this unit to another unit within my apartment complex. Same floor plan, but it's less expensive, better location, quieter. Also, this room that I'm in is open to the living room, but in the new unit that I'm moving into, there'll be a door, and this will be an enclosed room, so it'll be an even better studio environment for my content. So looking forward to getting that all done and out of the way, getting all my stuff moved. I bought a dolly off of Amazon that I'm going to be putting these arcades on. And just walking them down the sidewalk to my new unit. And that'll be happening the 1st of February. So the 1st and 2nd and the 8th and 9th, I'm going to be tied up with that. So next week's live stream will be the last live stream for at least a couple of weeks. So definitely make sure to tune in next week. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your Sunday evening. Hope you guys have a great start to your week. And to everyone who's in the chat that was watching or who chatted in the live stream, I appreciate you guys. All the members who have become members of the channel, I really appreciate y'all's support. And just stay tuned, guys. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.